And we are live on all the channels. Welcome. What if the very thing that you have dismissed as not serious enough holds the key to your most impactful work? What if the dreams that you've shelved, the ideas that you've muted, and the creative whispers you've drowned out aren't distractions, but doorways? Today, we welcome a woman who turned decades of silencing into a symphony of empowerment. Jenny Elinora is not just a creativity coach or an award winning musician, she's a reclamation architect for women ready to resurrect their stifled voices. After being told her creativity was too much in childhood, Jenny didn't release her first solo album until 50. And now she equips women in midlife and beyond with the tools to heal through harmony, blending somatic science, vibrational healing, and raw life experience to crack open creative prisons. Jenny's work isn't about writing chart topping songs, though she's done that. It is about proving that every woman's voice, whether expressed through boardroom strategies, community activism, or late blooming artistry, is non negotiable. And today we are diving into the quiet betrayals that drain your creative energy, the audacious power of giving yourself permission, and how to transform stuckness into your greatest catalyst. Jenny, welcome to the Power Talks for Remarkable Females. How are you doing?
I'm great, Helena. Thanks for that beautiful introduction. It was
You are so
lovely.
welcome. I'm super stoked to have you here.
Yeah,
I
thanks.
love your team and your what you are doing in the world and how you are serving women. It is so important the work that you do. So let's just dive in. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
just start with the question haunting every high achiever listening here. How do we recognize when we're abandoning our creative purpose? And what's the first step back?
Yes. How do we recognize? Ah, it's inside. It's often inside because we're so trained to hide it on the outside, right? And so it's what it feels like. It feels
Mhm.
like I'm not really living my full life. It feels like I don't have time for the things that I most enjoy. It feels like I know that there's some creativity inside me, a joyful, playful child inside me, but it's not coming out.
Mm.
I mean, if it comes out, sometimes we're faking it. that's
Yeah.
that's what it looks like. And what else? I'd say for me, grief was a huge factor in it too, but I would say stuck grief because actually creativity allowed me to feel grief and feel it through. But if
Mm.
there's stuck grief, which if we don't, I guess if we don't even know that it's grief when it's in there and it's stuck, I guess that feels uh, like dissociation, right? Like not being able to
Mhm.
feel our feelings at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are
Yeah.
some of the things. There's a lot of ways it
Yeah.
plays out. Yeah.
I think indeed, I think for every one of us, it can show up in different ways. And I would like to reflect that back also to our audience, everybody that is listening in or watching this today. How do you feel it? How does it show up for you? Because we are inviting you also to participate to this episode. Even if you're watching or listening to replay, just put your stuff, your feedback, your questions, put them in the comment box because we will be monitoring and we will follow up. Absolutely. And if you're not connected with us yet in on LinkedIn or on Facebook or wherever that you are listening now, just look for us, connect with us because we do these things very often. We create and co-create amazing things for you. And so just make sure that you are in the loop of everything that we're doing by connecting. So welcome also not only Jenny, but also our audience that is looking for ways to bring this playfulness and to tap into this power of creative ways much more in order to build momentum and in order to find joy in whatever that you are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So Jenny, how did you start this work?
okay, so I am a musician who didn't sing in public till I was 33 years old. And
Yeah.
it was a journey to get myself there too, a journey of like deciding to do it, even though I was terrified, absolutely terrified. Um, it was being told when I was young that my voice wasn't quote unquote good enough. It was completely disassociating from that voice for decades, from teens to my 30s. And then
Mhm.
I got support. I got support from outside of me. I got to a place in my own life where I had, I guess, done enough meditation or something where I was ready to go ahead and share my voice. And then I, like, really right on the heels of that, I became a voice and performance coach. And I did that for a decade or so, a decade and a half. And I also was in like other people's bands and stuff. And then
Mhm.
when I was 50, my whole voice, what I call my whole voice, came out in my first solo project. And I've
Mhm.
released a couple of albums since then. And
Yeah.
I launched a year ago, almost a year ago now. I launched this creativity empowerment coaching thing because I realized that all along when I had been coaching people with songwriting or performance, things like that, that some of them were having these creative transformations. Some of that, that I was able to like help them get down deep so that they would have this like full on transformation. And somebody who was, for example, starting with songwriting ended up like finishing a book that they'd been writing for 40 years. So
Mm.
the creativity begets creativity thing happens. And I realized that I have that, especially once I fulfilled my own whole voice, my own solo projects, that I have a special intuitive and logistical ability to help people to
Yeah.
reclaim their own creativity in whatever
Mhm.
in whatever paths that they choose, whether it's art or whether it's activism or whether they just want to have more play in their life. That's a new theme that I'm working with a lot. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's so important, Jenny, because I mean, we take life so seriously, right? I know so many women, female entrepreneurs, female executives, and we're all work, no play, right? And we don't have time for play. And we even feel like if we're playing, it's not being productive,
Right.
it's losing time, it's maybe not being taken seriously. I'm pretty sure you have something to say about that because
I
that's absolutely not
absolutely
true,
do.
right?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, we know that we want to be and appear both to ourselves and to the world, and we have every right to want all of that. We want to be fabulous and we want to be
Mm.
empowered. And what we don't realize yet in some ways collectively as women, as empowered women, is that in trying to be that way, we forget about play and creativity. We're still creating. We're always creating, right? My main creativity project now is my business, and a lot of the women that I'm meeting, that's the same story there. But yeah, so we're
Mm.
creating businesses, we're creating connections, we're creating a better world, we're creating wealth, but in some ways we're still kind of looking outside ourselves for validation on that and the measures of success, which ends up because we haven't also added in the internal need. We haven't factored that in, that internal need for play. So then we
Mm.
end up more unhappy and stressed, even if we're kind of meeting our goals. So yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
Mm.
I can't tell you how many women that I'm meeting. I did 40 plus interviews in the last month with women about their creative landscapes, and everyone that I've met is like kind of bursting with creativity, and I can see their uniqueness and everything, but many are not still not expressing it in their work. And
Yeah.
we're kind of focused on what is safe, I guess, or what's marketable there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what's missing in that equation, and
Guilty.
really, right, I mean, I walk that line too, right? I'm like, where
Mm.
is the balance, right? So
Yeah.
and at the same time, what really changes our own lives and changes the world ultimately is that first. That's why my newsletter is called Creativity First. uh,
Mm.
is that deep connection to our creative soul.
Yeah.
That's what needs to come first,
Mm.
in order for our work as it is expressed in the world, and our voice and our vision and our missions as they are expressed in the world, in order for them to be the most powerful they can be.
Mhm. I like that. In the meantime, I would like to say hi to Ruth Davey and Lisa Fivek. Ruth, don't worry about missing stuff. There will be a replay. We will send you also the link with the replay because we have a podcast channel for these Power Talks on YouTube. So we will send you the link tomorrow or the day after. And I would also like to share, I wrote an article in order to prepare and to promote this episode. I wrote an article last week in my LinkedIn newsletter, and it is about permission slips for high achieving women to play and to be creative. So I will also share it with you in the chat here, so you have access to that. And then I would also like to, let's see, we have a banner here that we can play on. This is your new website, right?
Yes. Well,
Playgrowyourwholevoice.com.
yeah, I wouldn't say that's my entire website. I used it for what I did. I did a free 5-day challenge last week. The replays are still up. If anybody wants to jump in now, you can go ahead and fill that out and watch the replays this week. They'll be up till Friday. So, but I'm using that website and that list to get people. I'm doing more play programming. I'm running a workshop at the end of this month, which I can tell you about in a bit. Um, and yeah, if you do that, you'll get into my playlist. So I like
I
that
like
word
that.
as a musician. um,
Yeah.
yeah, you'll get on that. And I realized also I had an article on LinkedIn as well, a couple of articles
Mm,
in my. Go ahead and look on LinkedIn in my Creativity First newsletter. There's articles on play in
mm,
there too. So there you go.
yeah. It's so important to dig a little bit deeper into these things, Jenny, because I mean, play and creativity is like you say, it's like a top priority in order to find joy and to build momentum in every other thing that we are doing. And creativity also has this limiting label.
Mhm.
Um, I consider myself now as extremely creative because I love to create articles, create newsletters, create visuals, but also create programs that are aligned with what my clients need in terms of coaching. But I used to say I am not creative
Mhm.
because I was not like a good painter or a good drawer or things like that. And so I immediately limited myself, not only for these specific disciplines, but basically for everything. It was like just part of my identity, like I am not creative.
Mhm.
And that's such a pity because, first of all, that's not true. And secondly, it limits us to explore and expand our creativity in other disciplines. How does that feel for you?
Yeah. Oh, when I hear the words "I'm not creative," it also kind of goes along with how I feel when I hear people say I can't sing, or it's
Yeah,
these things are our birthright. Like, we are human beings, and therefore, we have a voice, and we can sing, and we can be creative. We just need to choose it, and we are
yeah,
told. It's very heartbreaking to me, the degree to which we are told in dominant culture that creativity isn't worth our time, or that our voices
mm,
aren't good, and all that kind of stuff. It really is. It devastates me when I think about it, and
yeah,
this is why I'm doing this, right? Because
mm,
as devastated as I feel, I need to do something about it in order to, like, change this landscape, and we're changing it. So, like, I love the fact that you said, Helena, like, that you used to say I'm not creative, and now you recognize that you are. And I just want everybody in the world, especially women, because you know, somehow we took in that message more deeply. That we are, that our efforts to be creative isn't really an effort. It's just play, all these kinds of things, act your age, all that kind of stuff. Oh, ouch, ouch, ouch. And yeah, so my
yeah.
mission is for every single one of you to know that you are creative. It's your birthright.
Mm.
Claim it. It's time to claim it.
Absolutely. So let us know also in the comments in the chat, even if you are watching the replay, let us know. Do you consider yourself creative, yes or no? And maybe at the end of this episode, we can ask this question again. Maybe we can change our minds, because it is perception. It is how we label ourselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
So
in our power.
for those among us that don't feel creative, what's like a first step? How can you reclaim that creativity, or how can you just and make, give it birth if
Mhm.
it never has been there?
Yeah, this I would have answered this, like, differently even a month ago, but since I just came off of that Days of Play challenge, I I'm gonna answer it from a play perspective. There is, the National Institutes of Play has various things on their websites, like, a quiz that talks about your play personality, and that can be an inroad into your creativity. Our play personalities, we all have different ones. Mine turns out that I have a director personality, which goes along with being a coach and liking to organize events and stuff. So that's where I like to play. And it's not necessarily, you don't usually think director play creativity, right? Like you don't think
Mm.
those two things, and yet they are. This is, that whole National Institutes of Play website, and all the research of Stuart Brown, who's like the main researcher on there. The science is absolutely there that there is way more big a landscape on play than what we typically think of in society. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Are you a storyteller? Are you an explorer? Are you a director like me? There's a few other different kinds. So finding that out, and then also exploring kind of the things that light you up the most when you play. I see Marion in the chat is saying, I resonate with what you're saying. What I do, I paint from the subconscious by painting what I'm feeling. I paint with my hands like a 5-year-old, right? So, yes, we that is another key to getting into your creativity, is going back into your inner child, remembering what
Mm.
really sparked your joy when you were a child. Those are the clues to what's going to spark your joy now, probably, at least to some extent. So, yeah. Thanks, Marion, for sending that.
Yeah, absolutely. When you say that you are a director, I think of a couple of years ago, I did this assessment because I was in a mastermind. I did this assessment. It's called Wealth Dynamics, and they give you kind of archetypes. And I am a creator mechanic,
Mhm.
and that means that I love to create, and then I put these things in processes. And especially when we're talking about programs and brochures and things like that, that's like an
Mhm.
ideal combination. And for me, sometimes I have to contain myself because I love creating so much that I would like go into this rabbit hole of creation. And so my criterion now is, does my audience need it? And if they need it, I love to create programs or brochures or downloadables or things that might be a resource for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You're
so that's
speaking.
how
Oh,
I express that creativity. Yeah.
yeah. You're speaking now to a thing that I'm also kind of feeling my way into, some for myself and some to some degree it has something to do with the workshop at the end of the month, is balance, right? Like
Hmm.
what our creative purpose is at our core is what dictates
Yeah.
that balance, right? Like whether we choose to go down a rabbit hole or not, because sometimes it's cool to do that, and then other times we need to like focus a little more. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that I'm on the growth edge of myself too, and that's actually why I'm doing it's called the Rebel Your Rebel Yes Summer of Play, and and what it is like, you know the whole summer goes by, right? And you're like, oh, what happened to it? So in this workshop, we're going to create a plan for it that is in balance,
Mm.
that for your own preferences, your own creative purpose. We'll get down in there as well. So yeah, I'm needing to figure that out for myself. And I know I have the tools to
Yeah.
do it. I just haven't done it yet. So now I'm going to just do it with everybody else, with all of you. There's only 5
Yeah.
spots left. So DM me if you want to
I
know
love
more.
that. Yeah, and I see Alan here. Hi, he said I have always been creative, still creating, and turn 80 next month. I'm a fan. I'm an absolute fan. Please, Alan, let us know what it is that you are creating, in what areas that you are creative, because it's such a source of inspiration to see how other people do this, right? It is. And playfulness and creativity also allows you to reconnect not only with your inner child, but it also allows you to connect with or reconnect maybe with other generations.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
you can be playful. And sometimes I see grandparents refine their playfulness when they have grandchildren,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Yes.
becoming a grandma next month, so I'm very curious to see how that turns out. But this is something that we see very often. But we don't have to wait until we're grandparents, right, Jenny?
Yeah,
So
that's
give us
one
some
thing.
inspiration.
Yeah, one thing that I'm playing with in my promo, because one of my main forms of play is wordplay, so yeah, one of the sort of little mini quiz here. We'll do a mini quiz right now, right? How old do you want to be when you get to feel free and play like you want to and be creative like like in the way that gives you the most joy? How old do you want to be? Do you want it to be next year? Like joy is going to wait. It'll wait. B, do you want it to be on your deathbed? Who cares
Mhm.
about joy? Or C,
Mhm.
I want to be today years old. That's what somebody said in the challenge last week. I want to be today years old.
Mm,
Why in the world would I wait? So yeah, that's what my
exactly.
programming's all about, is to get people to do it now, to get
Yeah.
to get there now, because why not? It is
Yeah.
possible to do it. It's not a like, okay, I'm gonna finish. Oh, okay. For example, if I might go on a little longer. I'm meeting a whole bunch of women right now, just like this. There's this theme. A lot of women who are either moving or selling their house, right? And for some of them, it's even going along with a career change in a lot of cases. And they are focused, as we kind of need to be, on the tasks that we need to do to get that stuff done, right? And then the rest of the time is for everything else, like relaxation and play. Some are scheduling in self-care. Some are, they meditate or something. And for some of them, there are elements of play and a few things, but very few are actually planning in play. They're leaving it up to chance. And because the reason for that is that we have a narrow idea of what play is, so we don't even understand how to plan for the kind. But that is what we need to do. That's my specialty.
Mm,
For example, once I named imagination as one of my primary preferences for play, I was able to plan in time to be just purely imaginative and keep those channels, those creative energies flowing in me. I planned in the time. Like another example is when one of my clients identified that celebration and ritual, that's something that the National Institutes for Play says is an important form of play for a lot of adults. That person, then my client, decided to plan little celebrations, like more celebrations in their life. Like one of the
yeah.
ones that I thought was so cute was they had a little party for themselves the last day that they had to shovel snow at the end of this winter.
Mm,
I live
yeah.
in Vermont in the US, so
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
I
we've
love
got a
that.
lot.
Yeah, celebrations is something that once again we don't give ourselves credit enough for successes or just gratitude moments, things that we say, yes, this is happening, this is something we achieved, or this is just something that we can be happy for or grateful for. Let's celebrate that, and it doesn't have to be like a party. It can be very small rituals, but that indeed is playfulness. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
And Ruth here shares that she's creative in many ways. Let me pull this up. Um, oh, she's working for an organization that uses vision, imagination, and photography to support people to see themselves, others and the wider world differently. I love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful. It's like creating different lenses in order to open paths for people to see and reframe and refocus. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Ruth. Yeah,
mhm.
there's so many ways, absolutely, to show creativity. Um, I sometimes would like to see it enter the professional world more because when the example of Ruth is you are in kind of an organization that has creativity in its DNA. When you are working as a CFO, for example, when you are a chief financial officer and you're with data and numbers and Excel files and things like that, that might be a little bit more difficult. So, Jenny, what would you advise there in order to introduce play and creativity, not only in their work for themselves, but also for their teams?
Right. So yeah, I mean, there's sort of two threads there that I'm feeling. One of them is like I sometimes create spreadsheets for fun because it is one of the ways that I like to play with numbers, and
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that you know maybe a lot of people who are in that position hopefully might already have a play personality or play preferences that kind of align with that. So, um,
Mm.
and at the same time. Gamification, that's another cool way to kind of do all that stuff if we are finding tasks a little bit repetitive or
Mhm.
soul killing anywhere, right? It could run the gamut, but yeah, that's and I would say that out in the time that is again planning it in, right? Planning in if we do need to do tasks for a significant amount of time in our lives that are not something that are inherently causing or giving us joy, then we do need to
Mhm.
plan in times for joy at other times. The things that planning for the things that sparkle us most, right? Like really asking
Mm.
ourselves. And that's again, that's what it's hard to get to on your own. That's why coaching is so such a exploding kind of industry these days, right? It's because we all need more
Mm.
help,
Yeah,
and we're all
absolutely.
learning to become less hyper individualistic here. So yeah,
Mm.
but yeah, getting somebody to help you figure out how what your play preferences are, what really sparks you the most, how to get down in there to figure that out is really important, and then to plan that in, then to make that a part of your life, because then the baseline level of your joy rises, the baseline level of your resilience to face challenges and obstacles will rise. You'll be something happens at work that sucks, right? Like somebody like kind
Mm.
of yells at you or something like that. The more joy you've put in the bank before that, the less it's gonna impact your overall budget. I guess
Yeah.
that's there. I'm playing with numbers and words right now again. So
Mm.
yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks.
Yeah. Now we were promising some things also when we announced this um episode. And let me just before that just go back to Alan who mentions that he's a mindset master coach and now sight impaired, and he's converting his programs to online programs. That's absolutely also a very interesting source of creativity, and expects to publish 3 more books this year. Wow, congratulations, Alan. I mean, writing a book is also a creation. It is
Mhm.
giving birth to something. It is expressing something. It is, yeah, creativity keeps the brain active. That's a very true statement. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alan, for sharing that. And all the best with your books. Let us know how they go and when they are available. So, tools to identify and disrupt energy drains in your creative process.
Mhm.
Jenny,
Yeah, tools.
enlighten us.
Yeah. Well, I have a questionnaire that does it. I will say that,
Okay.
as part of my
But do you
course,
have
my
some
online
quick,
course.
yeah, do you
But
have
yeah,
some
a
quick
little
tips for the people here?
right, pulling a little tip out of that. A tool is to look for signs that you are betraying your creative purpose. Wait, ask the question again. Let me hear the focus of that again.
So it is about tools to identify and disrupt energy
Okay.
drains in your creative process.
Right. Okay. I guess the reason that my mind is going towards the creative betrayal thing is because you kind of need to identify that first, in
Mm.
order to know what tool is going to target that particular issue. Like, for example, one way that we know we're betraying ourselves creatively is that we find ourselves numbing out, like watching a lot of Netflix and stuff like that, right? Or doom scrolling, things like that. Well, I guess doom scrolling is a little less than numbing out. It's more like activating adrenaline too much. But those kinds of things, engaging with things that aren't really part of our souls. Uh, so a tool that we would use in order to get out of the numbing out kind of thing is to take say half the time that I spend doing the numbing out kind of stuff, put it into some other basket. Put it into what
Mm,
am I going to do instead that does spark joy in me, that does spark engagement with life, does spark um, my interest and my connection with the world and or with other people and or with myself. So that's one
mm,
tool, is to take half of the time
yeah.
and decide on to do something else with it.
Yeah. So it's about being mindful about what you're doing
Mm,
and be able to redirect. Yeah.
yeah. Mhm,
Mm. Yeah. The thing is that when you are drained, you're also sometimes drained in energy, and you create these internal scripts, these
mhm,
voices in your head like, well, I don't really have time for this, or I need tools for this. I had that a lot in terms of I would love, I still have it. I would love to start doing things with clay, right?
mhm,
And I was thinking, yeah, but then I have to invest in these machines and the oven and all these things. And then probably in a couple of months, I won't be able to do it anymore, or I won't get bored. And so I had all these scenarios in order to avoid to start doing it,
mhm,
until I was talking about it a couple of weeks ago with a friend that lives here in the neighborhood. And she said, oh, but Tim is doing that, and he has an atelier and he gives classes. I take you. She's in Africa right now. When I'm back, I'll take you. Gone
mhm.
excuses, because I don't need the machines and the tools and the things. I can just go somewhere and try it out and just be in that flow, and
Yeah,
even guided by somebody. So it's not like a complete disaster when you start, without any feeling with the things. So
right.
um, I
Yeah.
think that a lot of us are finding excuses
Mhm. Yeah.
not to do the things.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so, what do we do about that?
Yeah. I mean, it is about deciding, really giving ourselves permission. And there's a key that in what you said just now too. You were trying to give yourself permission, right? It's not like you weren't trying to, but you did need outside, not validation, but um, cheerleading, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
Somebody open-heartedly heard you with your desire and
Yeah.
said, "Oh, here's a possible strategy," right? So surrounding ourselves with what I call creative, well, I think Julia Cameron might have also called it this, creative champions, right?
Mm.
Surrounding ourselves with people who are totally willing to unconditionally see us for who we are, the creative souls we are, and ideally being the creative souls they themselves are, as an example for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be in creative community like that is important to include. And then also something that you said made me think about, oh yeah, another strategy that you can use when you're having trouble getting yourself to a bigger dream, obviously, is always breaking it down into steps. So for example, with the clay thing, it may not be the ultimate end all be all of what you want. If you like got little tiny, like, just little kids clay, like you can buy it
The
at a toy
Play-Doh.
store or
Yeah.
something. Play-Doh, yeah, just doing something like that could start the
Mm.
would. I'm not even going to say could. Would start the energies going in that direction. And then once we, sort of in a spiritual way, I guess, once we start something and take one step towards something, the doors for the rest of it start to open. It's just,
Mm.
momentum being what it is. It's a matter of
Yeah.
moving towards it and showing the universe that this is what I want. And even if it's in the
Yeah.
tiniest way that doesn't seem exactly like what I want, if it's even just a tiny bit towards it, it will work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like what you say, Jenny. It is also about building that community of support,
Mhm.
right? It's like, and there's so many ways now to join groups or to find people that are in your creative area or in your creative level. I mean, there's groups, there are communities everywhere online. You can create them in your community, in your village or in your city. Because I do believe that if you can find this inspiration and support with other people doing the same things and share and explore and experiment, that once again it gets, you activate your soul, you activate that fire,
Yeah.
of creativity, and you are open to be more vulnerable and try it out, step into it. Yeah.
Mhm. I have an
Yeah.
online creative transformation community.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's something people can. I usually, right now I've been offering it to clients as part of packages. We've been, starting slow and small to just feel our way into it, to feel
Mm-hmm.
how to hold that container, right? And how to hold it
Yeah.
with a lot of integrity. So yeah, but
Mm.
as we learn that, it's gonna expand out. It'll be available to others. I already am offering 3 months of it as a bonus to the Rebel Yes Your Summer of Play workshop that I'm doing at the end of this month. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's great.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk
Beautiful.
about that at some point if I could give a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people today, so stop me if I'm repeating myself. But yeah, I have at the end of this month a workshop that is going. What we're going to do is 3 hours on a Saturday, one of the Saturdays at the end of the month. There's 5 spots in each workshop, and there's only 5 left total, where we're going to create our plan, our freedom play plan for the summer. And we are going
Mm.
to not get to the end of the summer wondering where the heck the summer went, because we are going to know that we were able to play and relax in balance with all of our responsibilities, and
Mm.
even infuse our relaxation and play into some of those responsibilities as well.
Mm.
So yeah, it's freedom. I trying to think of specific examples to like share with people about what it can do. That's one of the hard things for my brain to do, but I will be including those kind of examples when I'm doing the written and visual promotions on it. So keep an eye out on LinkedIn and Facebook for
Beautiful.
it.
Yeah. And Marion is sharing that play is powerful because it is opening up new neurological pathways in the brain, which helps in more ways than one. And we can step outside the box, create more solutions that help in daily activities and business solutions too. That is so true, Marion. Thank you so much for bringing this up. It is absolutely true that if we are developing this more playful mind, and if we are also developing this capacity to go into flow, that these are things that we can use in every aspect of our life. And it opens up the capacity in our prefrontal cortex to deal with challenges or, daily things, or maybe problems, and find solutions and ways to work that are different from what we always have been doing, because we dare to be creative, and we are in that flow state. So that's a very important thing to mention here. Absolutely. Even if you feel like, oh, I'm not into painting, I'm not into playing the piano, I'm not into clay or whatever, it is a good thing to understand that playfulness and creativity is not something that you have as such, like something isolated. It is something that is representing and has an impact on your complete being, on
Mhm.
everything that you undertake, right, Jenny?
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Thanks. Yeah, and we all have sort of different play landscapes. It's I guess one thing
Mm.
that I would like everybody to take out of this as well is that whatever lights up your soul, and
Mm.
that is okay, and that is valuable and worthwhile. It really
Mhm.
doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
I had a participant during Days of Play last week who was talking about when they were a child and would spend hours just watching ants walk around,
Mhm.
travel around, do their little ant things. And I kind of
Yeah.
resonated a lot with that because I still do that sometimes, not hours,
Yeah.
but yeah. And oh, I have a silly example that I also gave because in the middle of Days of Play last week, I was looking in the mirror and I was plucking hair out of my chin, right? And I immediately realized, oh my God, I'm playing. I'm enjoying this. I am fully absorbed in this moment. I feel like it could last forever because that's another hallmark of play is that and creativity is that we feel
Absolutely.
like we're out of time, right? We lose our sense of
We
time.
lost, we lose the sense of
Right.
time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We're in the
I
flow.
So I realized that that was happening as I was plucking this hair out of my chin. And then right on the heels of that, ouch, it was like, am I too weird? Is that too weird? And so then because I was doing these play programmings and stuff and in a play community right at that moment, in a creative community, I was able to give myself some validation. Like I've been telling, I'm telling you, and I'm going to tell myself now, whatever way that we like to play and be creative is totally great. So I was able to tell myself that in the moment and completely turn it around. So yeah,
Yeah.
another reason why we need community.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
eventually those voices in our, they get absorbed with, if we're getting told, yeah, it's okay, it's great, then we will be able to change our own minds that much more easily, going
Yeah.
back to what we said at the beginning about how important it
Mhm.
is to change our minds.
Yeah, absolutely. So Marion is bringing in again. A simple play is bringing a pencil for a walk on a piece of paper and randomly letting it go whatever way it wants. I love that. Then color in
Ooh.
the shape. No rule, no regulations, just time out, which will increase in the dopamine and endorphins in the brain. That's absolutely true. And I have to say, my mother is 85 and she loves to do this. So she loves to color these mandalas. And it's something new because, I mean, sometimes there are things that you cannot do any longer. Because, like Alan says, you're visually impaired and you need to find something else, or you cannot read anymore. So for my mother, it was a change of some activity that she no longer could do, and then she started coloring this mandalas, and it was like this creativity, but all these different colors and having a different result every time. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
beautiful.
I just
And
tried
also
it too. I tried Marion's.
hmm,
Marion, I tried your idea. It was really, it worked. I immediately
yeah,
felt kind of like a little, I don't know, neurological shift or something. So
yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
absolutely. Absolutely. Last piece of advice, Jenny, before we go
Ooh,
today.
oh, man. The last piece of advice. Do my workshop at the end of the month. Get one of those 5 spots.
Wonderful.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, to create a whole summer and guarantee that we're gonna be able um, to have it mean something and have it really last, I guess, uh, there is nothing else like this out there that's gonna guarantee it.
Mm,
So that's
yeah.
my last piece of advice is
Yeah.
do it.
Beautiful. It's like
Yeah.
take action.
Yeah.
Yeah, do something. Just
Yep.
step into it. Beautiful. Thank you
Mhm.
so much.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we were talking about community. I am also inviting you to join the Her Space community, which is my community of smart, purposeful female leaders that are looking for like-minded women in order to personal, to develop, to grow, to experiment. We don't have really playful activities like Jenny does, but we do have a lot of co-creation and opportunities to elaborate leadership and growth in both professional and personal life. So I will share the link with that here also in the chat. And let's me see if there was anything else. Yeah, I mean, we have this banner down there, but I will also share the link to the YouTube channel. So check out other episodes, revisit this episode with Jenny, like it, comment it, show some appreciation if this episode was meaningful for you, if you had value from it. Just show us that you care, that this is something that was good for you and that might be also very interesting for others to watch or to listen to, and then step into the action. Go and be creative. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us and for actively participating with your ideas and with your experiences. That is so valuable for us to be able to have this interaction. Once again, if you are watching the replay, please send us your feedback in the comments. We are so interested to, have this ongoing feedback and interaction. That would be marvelous. And Jenny, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your experience, for your generosity and sharing other things that might, um, you know, give that possibility for people to embark on this creative journey and tapping into their power of their creative powers. Thank you so much and see you next time. Bye bye.